everyone! This is the first lesson of learning Chinese characters. I don't teach Pinyin. I will teach you how to analyze the structure of Chinese characters, deeply understand the meaning of each Chinese character. Chinese pictography. The first rule is simply drawing pictures. So, many Chinese characters originated from shapes found in real life. For example, 日 means the sun. This is the way Chinese characters 日 were written thousands of years ago. Have you ever seen pictures of the sun taken from space probes? Does the surface of the sun look like soft bird feathers? In ancient Chinese mythology, the sun was believed to be the embodiment of a golden three-legged crow. Therefore, the first rule can simply be understood as drawing what you see. However, there would be a problem if we relied only on the first rule. Many things cannot be drawn because they are abstract concepts. For example, the number 8. This led to the second rule, self-explanatory characters. These characters are written in a particular way without any special reason or pictorial origin. People simply agreed to use them in that form. No lengthy explanation is needed. They were established by convention. The characters 一, 二, and 三 have logical structures representing 1, 2, and 3. However, there is no particular reason why ba means 8. It is simply a conventional fixed form. Fortunately, only a small number of Chinese characters belong to this category. Most characters can still be interpreted logically. Have you ever watched Transformers? Imagine Chinese characters combining together like Transformers. For example, the sun, 日, and the moon, 月, combine to form 明, which means bright. Just as two Autobots can merge into a stronger Autobot in Transformers, Rule 3 states that two or more Chinese characters can combine to create a new character representing a more advanced concept. In ancient times, the sun and moon were considered the brightest objects in the sky. When combined, they symbolized the abstract idea of brightness. Radicals are transformed forms of Chinese characters, and the two have the same meaning. For example, the Chinese character ren becomes the radical ren. Chinese characters containing ren are generally related to people. Why change the form? Simply to make writing neater and more convenient. In short, Rule 3 is combine existing Chinese characters to create a new character that expresses a deeper and more complex meaning. If we try to build an entire writing system using only the first 3 rules, we would encounter problems. Creating thousands of characters this way would be inefficient, and people would need to memorize the pronunciation and structure of every individual character, placing a huge burden on memory. First, we need to clarify one fact. Spoken language existed before written characters. People already knew how to pronounce words before they knew how to write them. Suppose there are 3 concepts that all share the pronunciation lun, but no written characters exist for them yet. Step 1. Check whether a character with the pronunciation lun already exists. We find the character lun. Step 2. Analyze the meanings of the 3 new words and add appropriate radicals to loin. As a result, we create. These characters all contain lun, which indicates pronunciation, while their radicals suggest meaning. The third and fourth methods both involve combining elements, but there is an important difference. Rule 3. Every component contributes meaning. The resulting character usually has a completely new pronunciation. Rule 4. One component mainly indicates pronunciation. The radical roughly suggests the meaning category. For example, the radical generally relates to people. However, even with the radical, we usually cannot determine the exact meaning of a new character without consulting a teacher or a dictionary. The advantage is that we do not need to invent entirely new pronunciations. We simply borrow an existing character, such as lan, to indicate sound and add a radical to hint at meaning. This is much more practical than Rule 3. That is why ancient Chinese people used this method extensively when creating new characters. Intermezzo, Rules 1 to 4 count for roughly 80 to 90% of Chinese characters. However, there are still some special cases, since Chinese writing has evolved over thousands of years. Two characters may have exactly the same meaning but different written forms. Chinese characters were not created by a single person or during a single period. Different groups and states in ancient China often created different characters for the same object or concept. When one state eventually unified the others and absorbed their cultures, multiple characters with identical meanings remained in use. Rule 5 simply put, different Chinese characters but the same meaning. The final rule is borrowing a character purely for its pronunciation rather than its original meaning. For example, the character ba was originally created to mean to divide something into two parts. Later, people realized they did not have a character representing the number 8. Since the pronunciation matched, ba was borrowed to represent the number 8. Over time, people became accustomed to using ba for the number 8. As a result, a new character, fin, was created to express the idea of dividing something. This new character was formed by adding the knife component dal beneath ba. Another modern example is the Chinese word for chocolate, 巧克力. If you analyze the individual meanings of 巧, 克, and 力, you would not understand why they collectively refer to chocolate. The meanings themselves are unrelated. However, when you listen to the pronunciation, chow colored, it sounds similar to chocolate. This is Rule 6. Only the pronunciation is borrowed, not the original meaning. These 6 methods were called the Liu Shu in ancient China. These 6 ideas must be understood before learning Chinese characters. It will increase your efficiency many times.